Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm doing great. How is yourself, Dan?
I am good. I'm good. Actually, I'm going to ask you, how was your day today?
Hmm.
And in general, how is teaching online? What is it like?
Today I only had like three classes. I teach elementary beginners at two different schools, and then I'm middle school orchestra director at Slauson, so I teach sixth through eighth grade. So I had three fifth grade classes today, and some of them are back to back, and you have to just like click out of a meeting and into a meeting. They're all
Right.
virtual right now. Yep.
So, are you seeing like all the kids? You can see them on the
They're
screen
doing
there.
pretty good at keeping their cameras on.
Yeah.
Yeah, today was learning about the brass instruments, so we had to watch them buzz their lips, and
Okay. Cool.
it was kind of fun.
Yep. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go back way back to the beginning because I know that you are very into music and music education. But I want to go back to when maybe you were very young, maybe not. I don't know, probably. But what got you started wanting to play and learn about music? Like, what was it that did it for you?
Well, I grew up in church and always went to church every Sunday. So, and my dad was in the choir, and my mom, she played organ and piano like growing up. We had an organ in our house, and I just loved playing that all the time and putting different beats on and playing chords. And then it was time for me to maybe join the orchestra in fourth grade at my school, and they had a fitting meeting, and so we went and heard all the string instruments, and I really loved the viola, but I loved the cello when they played the cello, and so I picked that up when I was 9 years old, and I've been playing ever since.
Cool. And so it was one of those organs that like you has that little drum beat with it.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
Kimball, where
Yeah.
you push like samba or whatever,
Yep.
bossa
Yep.
nova.
And it had foot pedals too.
Yeah, it had pedals, a
Yeah.
volume, and then it even had the thing you hit with your thigh to make it do the
Oh,
vibrato.
I never had one with those.
Oh yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
It was fun. I took a part one of those one time to take the bass pedal off to try to hook it up to something more modern.
Oh yeah.
It didn't really work though. I wasn't smart enough to
No.
do it, but it would be cool to have it just as a triggered sounds
Yeah.
in the feet. Oh, cool. So you started playing cello,
Mhm.
and any other instruments along the way, or was it mainly?
Later in high school, about sophomore year, I started playing guitar with cello, and those two really lend to each other really well. And I played in my praise group at church. So that's sort of where I started to learn how to improvise, and I could read off of chord charts and bass lines and things. And then I just started relating all the chord structures from guitar to cello, and just yeah, that's how I started to just play by ear. But I've classically trained. I started private lessons when I was about 11 with the principal cellist of the Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra, Linda Katz. So I studied with her until I went to college.
Cool. Yeah, that's good to have somebody that. So you're with her quite a while.
Yeah, for I guess sixth grade through 12th, so 6 years with her. And I did a lot of camps and things, studied with different professors throughout the state of Ohio in summers. So.
Yep. So you played all that time, and then did you know right like graduating from high school? Did you know right away that's what you wanted to do was to teach music or?
Well, I was really into theater too in high school, and I was into stage management. And but I love playing. My dream was to maybe play in a pit orchestra someday, or like a Hollywood Studios orchestra for movies.
Yeah.
And I got my first pit orchestra gig the summer between my junior and senior year, and it was Annie, Get Your Gun.
Okay.
For so that was my first experience at a pit orchestra to get paid. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
one.
I've
Oh,
been
go ahead.
playing
Yeah.
musicals ever since. So
Yeah, that's one thing I've never done is the pit orchestra thing. I think would be cool to play
yeah.
along with something going on stage. Well, you kind of led me into my one of these questions here, mentioning about in church learning how to improvise and read chord charts. That one thing I've been impressed with by you as a cellist is your ability to play music on the page, but also just like being in a jam circle and saying we're playing a blues in E, and you just go with it, whatever it is, and improvise, and your willingness to play all sorts of different styles. So, besides learning how to improvise and stuff in church, what other things kind of put you on that path where you aside from just learning to read on the page, just exploring out the improvisation and stuff.
Yeah, I think I really didn't get into like having a freedom in that until my daughters were a lot older and I could go experience like a social life, you know? And so I would go out to some of these jams in Toledo. Rockies had a jam, Joel Hazard ran, and then also there's the Paula Brown shop. There was the pub out back, and they'd have a blues jam, and I would go to those and attend them and just hear some amazing music. And I just got out my cello one time and started playing with these guys, you know, and I could understand the blues and I taught it to my students. It's a really big part of music ed to just follow a bass line and chords, and basic 12-bar blues is one of the easiest things to learn and hear. And so I just started jumping in with these guys and playing, and they just let me, and I just started to push myself a little bit more and more every time.
Cool.
So
Yeah, whatever we've done a jam session with you, it's always been fun because it's cool to have the cello in there. You don't usually get the cello in a like a campfire jam session. Well, I worked at the San Francisco Symphony for a little while, and I remember the cellists would come in, and they'd be bringing in like I think the regular cellist had like a $50,000 cello. Of course, when like Yo-Yo Ma came in, insanely priced cellos, but you don't carry around a $50,000 cello with you, do you?
um,
You probably shouldn't say if you did.
I haven't had mine appraised in a while,
Yeah.
but we'll say it's about a used Honda Accord.
Yeah, so yeah, that's I was the some of the string instruments, especially the bowed ones, can be quite pricey. We had a friend Lucas who always brought his violin to the campground, and we just leave it sitting out with the lid open and
Mm,
set its places. And I
no,
found out later it was a $25,000 violin,
no,
and the bow was like $2,000.
no, no.
And I'm like, Lucas,
So I have carbon fiber bows for
yeah,
that, and I have a second cello that's my daughter Bailey's cello. It's like an $1,800. It's a Nicholas. It's a German made instrument, and it's handmade,
yep.
spruce and maple, but it's just a student quality. So that's my campfire cello. If I go to a festival or something like that, where we're going to be out for a whole weekend or something, that's the instrument I would bring. But
Yeah.
if I'm at my house or going to a house concert where I know my instrument will be safe, I'll bring my good cello,
Yeah.
but never around the fire. No,
Right.
no, no.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Well, so, I've been to a lot of the. We had a couple of gigs with you, like up in at Shorts, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and sit-ins with Lou and Carl's. Other than the jams, just the friendly jams. But I imagine you played quite a few. You did the pit gigs and quite a few different kinds of gigs. I'm going to ask my worst gig, best gig question right now. So I'll do the worst gig first. Do you have any memories of a worst experience playing music?
Well, I have one that involves a string quartet. I
Okay.
used to play in the Allen Park Symphony. It's called the Southern Great Lakes Symphony. We rehearsed at like Flat Rock High School, sort of.
Yep.
They're no longer. The Livonia Symphony is now, but anyway, I got asked to sit in this quartet as a cellist just to go to this wedding, and we're doing Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring, you know, very basic stuff, right? Well, the second violinist didn't, no one cued, and the cello plays the downbeat. They just started playing. There was no communication whatsoever. And then I was just like, okay. And then I was like a little bit off by a beat for like the first couple measures. And then I found it, but I was just like, that was wrong.
Yeah.
It's like the easiest, like the most common thing. Like, and even if the first violinist doesn't have the downbeat, they should be the leader, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just really weird.
Yeah. It's if you're start off track, that's kind of off.
It wasn't that bad, but I was just like, what was that? And the whole thing was kind of like that because we'd never rehearsed together.
Yeah.
And I was new to the orchestra, so I just felt like that didn't go well. But, so that was probably one of my worst gigs.
Yeah. As well as one, like we've had gigs where it's like, well, that happened, and you just go to the next one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What about a best gig, a most memorable experience?
Oh, actually, probably the one that we just had in September. We did our Slipper Session finale, So Adam has been writing a lot of songs over quarantine, and we've been doing a lot of projects with our family. And we got up there and just like killed it with Adam and I just playing together, just everything culminated, everything we've been doing, and to have our kids up on that stage with us,
Yeah.
it was like a dream come true for everybody. And I'm so proud of my daughters and Ada, and just, yeah, it was awesome. That was probably one of my best gigs ever.
to see me the back home. And the girls I seen is gonna take it all. That bitch is gonna make sure there's anything you know. The banks and robbers have to see me. They're just trying to drive me from the land. Until they pry it from my cold dead hands. My daddy's gonna make a stand. Till I come shining, dear Lord, I can wait till the morning to see them moving up that blinding gate. Not the man for me, oh Lord, I will rise up straight till the morning to see them moving up that blinding gate. Against the sun, I heard the needle fall, I didn't even shut my eyes. Still trying to do when I ain't got no